So there's lots of talk about recession and crazy inflation going through the roof, and you might be questioning if you're considering a career to sell life insurance or any kind of insurance, is it still worth doing? Is it the right time to get into the business? What I'm going to do is spend time to you telling you why I still believe the insurance business is better than ever to get into, and then go a step further and tell you exactly what I would tell my son if he was turning 18 and wanted to get into the business, and what steps I would give him to confidently get in the business, to learn the business, and to give him the best chances of success. My name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group. We train and recruit agents nationally in my agency to sell final expense, Medicare annuities, and ACA in person or over the phone. If you'd like to learn more, davidduford.com/FAQ is the place to go. Thank you very much. Okay, so here's the thing. Even with recessions, even with inflation, the fact of the matter is there are certain fundamental truths that are still going to be the same. This was the case during the Great Recession. This is the case during the Great Depression. Business doesn't stop entirely, and many would argue business opportunity gets even better as things start to shake up and the incumbents fall out and the businesses coming in have a great new opportunity. And I would implore you to think around those ideas. When there's blood in the street, sometimes, as it's said, it's the best time to buy. It's the best time to get into business. So number one, the thing that is going to be true, regardless of a recession or inflationary issues, is that people will still die. Now, why does that matter? Because death is expensive. Whether you have an estate to handle or you just want to cover final expenses like what we teach our agents to do, selling burial insurance, the nature of death is permanent and eternal. We're all going to die at some point. The thing with dying is that you don't care, you're dead, but your family does, and they're the ones that have to foot the bill. So there is always, as people age and get closer to death, and even those who aren't necessarily closer to death, going to be a concern about the welfare and the legacy they leave behind. Is it one in which enriches and protects their loved ones or impoverishes them? And life insurance has an important role in qualifying and satisfying those issues. So number one, people are still going to die. So people's urges and concerns of peace of mind and love for their family and people are still going to be there. Despite this, meaning there are going to be needs and desires to buy life insurance to satisfy those issues. Number two, people rush into certainty during dire times. Again, when things go haywire, when there are losses in the stock market, people don't like risk. They see the risk as being high than it used to be. And people tend to rush towards things that are more certain, more giving of peace of mind, if you will. They put their money towards things that are sure bets. It's just the reaction people have in times of stress. Again, we see it in the financial markets where people get out of stocks and into bonds, or they get out of stocks and into gold or hard assets, etc. The same type of thinking can be applied when thinking of financial products or investments or insurance, where people take money out of one thing and maybe put it instead of in a 401k tied to some sort of retirement vehicle, put it into an annuity, an insurance product that allows for interest to be gained, but without the risk of loss. So again, it's not so much that the opportunity is going away, it's just that the perceptions of reality shift, and those things that are valued more are going to change with the times. And insurance, being a vehicle of safety, satisfies that concern. Whether that's in an index universal life plan that allows for growth and cash value without the risk of loss, or an annuity for the same reasons, you're just going to see a shift away from risk into certainty. Again, during the Great Recession, when I started in the business, 2010, 2011, that was a great time to sell annuities because the stock market lost a ton of value and people got scared and they ran towards sure things such as annuities and other insurance products instead of the stock market. Number three on the list here is that the fundamentals in life niches or sub-niches are very strong. So, when times are good, everybody benefits, but it's when the tide pulls back, you see who's not wearing shorts, right? You get to see the problems, the issues, the businesses that really can't manage and survive. But the thing that you have to be aware of And what you look for, I think, in a good investment or business opportunity is that even if there's a pullback in the market, which business opportunities still have an underlying fundamental trend of growth and upward trajectory. And the good news is there's a lot of niches in the insurance space that fill that. I'll go through a couple of right now. Number one is baby boomers. So baby boomers are people who are 55, 50 and older, getting into their 60s, 70s, maybe even 80s at this point, and are progressively getting to that point of retirement where the perception of life shifts somewhat from a time of accumulation to a time of preservation. They're not working anymore, so they've got to live to their final days and make sure they have the money and resources and safety in check to make sure that their retirement is as peaceful and less stressful as possible. So there are more people retiring daily than ever before. Somewhere between 10 and 13,000 each day turn 65, which is the official retirement age where Medicare starts. That's a sales opportunity. And certainly the thinking changes to maybe buying burial insurance, life insurance, annuity products, etc. So the point is this percentage of the population is growing to this baby boomer retirement age. So the growth trajectory of the population base is just trending towards more people being interested, in this case, in the baby boomer senior type products like final expense, Medicare, and annuities. Even when the recession pulls and draws the market downward as a whole, this trend underlying will still be the same. And these concerns are eternal. They're not going to go away. So life insurance absolutely continues to stay and maintain relevance. Last but not least is just the general growth of America. There are more and more people who are arriving as immigrants. There are more and more people every year that are being born, and the overall growth of the American population continues to grow. So mainline products like property and casualty, car insurance, certainly ACA health insurance, Obamacare, if you will, these are all products that are going to continue to be in demand. Some states require to have car insurance. Most people believe inherently it's important to have health insurance, so there's just that underlying assumption because it's expensive to have sickness and not have health insurance cover. And so the point is that even with the recession and pullback, you still will have people who just feel they need the basics. And car insurance and health insurance, I would consider to be the basics and assumptions that every family needs to have. Now, to wrap this up, to kind of give you some added perspective here, how do you get started? So you've listened to this, you've said, okay, maybe I can see there's some opportunity despite some of the risks on the horizon from an economy standpoint. Where is the opportunity that you would suggest one to go? So I'm going to frame this in the context of what I would tell my son, David. He's 13 right now. He's got many more years before he gets started in the business, if he does at all. But this is what I would tell him if he was 18. He was hungry to be successful. He wanted to go out there and make a name for himself and try to derive some sense of satisfaction and success out of business. This is exactly the steps that I would tell him to do. So number one, I would tell David to start selling in the final expense arena. Now, final expense isn't a sex appeal product. You're selling elderly people burial insurance, right? But the nice thing about final expense and getting started is that it's a great opportunity to get reps under the bar of the sales process. It's a volume-based business. It's not technically difficult to sell from the standpoint of how the product works. Very simple to sell, but it requires persuasion, rapport, and a connection. And having the ability to run a product, thinking long-term here, where you can sell a lot of it, you're going to get better as a salesman simply by selling and having more sales presentations than maybe a big fish type of prospect you only get a couple times a month. You're just going to not have the same type of reps. But with final expense, the pay is pretty good. It's not as good as, say, annuities are or long-term residual-based products like ACA health insurance or Medicare, but it pays pretty good if you consistently write a lot of business while also giving you the benefit of learning how to sell, learning how to connect, which will transcribe itself in any other products that you sell. So that's where I would start. However, the thing that I would tell my son somewhere around 6 to 12 months in is that the real beauty of insurance sales is in the residual side of the business. You see, it's nice to make money and not have to actively work to get it. Sure, there's no such thing as totally passive income really in any business, in real estate, insurance, or otherwise, but you do want to disconnect your income earning opportunity from your active level of commitment and having to actually work to get it. So what I mean by that is I think it's a very valuable thing to invest yourself somewhere around the year mark, give or take, into some residual-based insurance product. The two most, I think, best products to be in right now that have the biggest underlying trends despite the economy and allow for a potential six-figure income earning opportunity just as an agent is either Medicare sales, specifically Medicare Advantage, or ACA health insurance, Obamacare, Trump care, Biden care, whatever you want to call it. These are two great opportunities to build passive income each year. Right now, Medicare Advantage pays $301 a year for life. ACA plans pay, it depends on the state, anywhere from roughly, in most cases, about $200 to $250 per person on policy. You have up to 5 people in the policy, so pay 5 times that amount. And that's going to vary by state, of course. But to give you the idea, it's passive income for life. And it's something I think that you should really spend more and more time as you progress through your career to do, especially if something like building an agency and taking all the huge risks that come with agency building on doesn't appeal to you. So that's kind of where I would steer my son, and that's just where I would kind of steer your thinking, is all of these passive income earning products, all of these active income earning products like final expense specifically, are not going to be hurt or as affected as much by the inflation issue or by the economic issue. Again, firsthand experience, I started in 2011 selling final expense during the Great Recession. Lots of products struggled, but final expense stayed strong because older people know they're going to die, and final expense life insurance becomes more of a necessity versus an optional purchase decision. And that's the kind of products you want to sell so you can prevent the risk of your business model flopping out, like the mortgage loan business, let's say, which that's very cyclical with the health of the real estate economy. You don't have that impact nearly as much when you're selling insurance products, specifically the senior. So that's where I would tell my son to go. That's what I would tell you if you're looking at this business. Don't worry about it. You're in a much better position if you strategically pick the right products and stay away from those that are cyclical in nature. And if you have any interest in joining DeFord Insurance Group to sell these products we've mentioned, it's very simple. Go to davidduford.com/FAQ to learn more. Hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing and liking if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Bye.